Have you ever noticed how quiet the house can get? The kind of quiet where you can hear the clock ticking in another room, where the memories of laughter and busy days seem to echo louder than any present sound. You may be sitting in your favorite chair, surrounded by photographs of a life well lived, yet feeling a deep, hollow ache of loneliness. The world outside seems to rush by, but in here, the hours stretch long and empty. You are not forgotten. You are not an afterthought. Your life is not a closed book gathering dust on a shelf. To every heart that feels isolated, to every soul that wonders if anyone sees, if anyone remembers, if anyone cares, God leans in close. His word speaks directly into the silence, not with a shout, but with a gentle, unwavering whisper of a love that has known you from the very beginning. There is a profound difference between being alone and being lonely. You can be in a crowd and feel utterly lonely. You can be in an empty room and feel profoundly accompanied. The Bible begins with truth that cradles our existence. In the beginning, God, before any family, any friend, any community, there was God. And when he formed the first man from the dust of the earth, he placed him in a garden of abundance. Yet God observed, it is not good for the man to be alone. This was before the fall, before sin entered the world, in a state of perfect communion with God himself. Even in that flawless relationship, God saw the human need for companionship, for earthly touch, for the reflection of his love in another face. This tells us something crucial about our feelings of isolation. The longing for connection is not a sign of weak faith. It is woven into the very fabric of our humanity by God's own hand. It is a holy ache. So, when you feel that ache, do not condemn yourself. Do not think, I should be more spiritual. I should be content with God alone. He is the one who designed you for relationship. Your loneliness is not a failure on your part. It is a signpost pointing back to the designer's original blueprint. But here is where the story takes a turn for our hearts today. After Adam and Eve, after the family grew and the world filled, we see another pattern. We see individuals whom God sets apart, often in seasons of solitude, not as punishment, but for preparation, for revelation, for a deeper intimacy that crowds could not afford. Think of Moses on the backside of the desert, tending sheep for 40 years. The prince of Egypt became a solitary shepherd. The busyness of court life faded into the vast, silent stretches of wilderness. He was isolated, perhaps feeling his purpose was buried in the sand with his past. But it was in that very isolation that God appeared in a burning bush. It was in the quiet, away from the noise, that Moses heard his name called and his true mission revealed. God met him in the loneliness. Your quiet room, your solitary routine, might feel like a desert. But what if God is using this very space, this very quiet, to get your attention in a way he could when life was noisy and demanding? What if this loneliness is not a prison, but a holy ground where your spiritual shoes must come off, because he is here? Then there is the prophet Elijah, one of God's greatest champions. After a monumental spiritual victory, he found himself fleeing for his life, consumed not by joy, but by exhaustion and fear. He collapsed under a solitary broom tree and prayed that he might die. I have had enough, Lord, he said. I am the only one left. Have you ever felt that? I am the only one. Everyone else is gone. Everyone else is forgotten. God's response to Elijah was gentle. He did not scold him. He sent an angel who simply baked a cake and brought him water. He let Elijah rest. Then he led him on a 40-day journey to a cave at Mount Horeb. And in that cave, in that profound isolation, God asked him, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" Elijah poured out his lonely heart again. I am the only one left. God then revealed himself, not in a mighty wind, not in an earthquake, not in a fire, but in a gentle whisper, a still, small voice. In the echoing silence of the cave, the most powerful communication came in a whisper. For those feeling isolated, this is a promise. God is not only in the grand celebrations, the family reunions, the busy church services. He specializes in speaking in whispers. And to hear a whisper, you need quiet. You need to be still. The very silence that feels so heavy, so oppressive, can become the acoustical chamber for the gentle whisper of God. He says, I am here. You are not the only one. I have reserved thousands who have not bowed their knee to despair. Your story is not over. Perhaps you are in your own cave right now. The walls of your home feel like stone. The silence is deafening. Listen, past the ticking clock, past the memories. Listen for the whisper. It may come as a sudden warmth in your heart, a forgotten verse that floats to mind, an unexpected kindness from a neighbor, a beautiful sunset that seems painted just for you. He is whispering your name. He is asking, "What are you doing here?" And he is waiting to tell you that you are his. The years, they have a way of piling up, don't they? Not just as numbers on a birthday card, but as layers of experience, of loss, of change. You have lived through seasons that younger generations can only read about. You have held hands that are no longer here to hold. You have said more goodbyes than hellos. And with each goodbye, a thread in the tapestry of your connection to the world seems to loosen. Children move away. Friends pass on. The social circle that once felt so wide and warm naturally grows smaller. This narrowing can feel like a cruel reduction, as if your world and your worth are shrinking. But the Bible reframes this season not as a shrinking, but as a deepening. It is a moving from the wide, bustling river into the deep, still waters. King David, in his old age, described this feeling. He was once a mighty warrior, surrounded by loyal men, the center of a bustling kingdom. But in 1 Kings, we see him as an old man, unable to keep warm even under piles of blankets. His world had physically shrunk to a bedchamber. Yet, it was from this place of vulnerability and dependency that the search for a young woman, Abishag, to care for him was initiated. This story isn't just about decline. It's a stark picture of human need. David, the giant slayer, the psalmist, needed someone. There is no shame in need. There is holy humility in it. Your need for companionship, for care, for a simple conversation is not a burden. It is a testament to your God-given humanity. It is an invitation for others to serve and for you to receive grace. And in that receiving, there is a different kind of strength. There is another voice from the twilight years of the Bible, the Apostle Paul. He who once traveled the known world, preaching to thousands, writing letters that would change history, found himself in a prison cell in Rome. His world had shrunk to chains and stone. In his final letter, 2 Timothy, he writes, "Do your best to come to me quickly, for Demas, because he loved this world, has deserted me. Only Luke is with me." He asked for his cloak, for scrolls, and especially for parchments. He is cold. He is lonely. He feels deserted. At my first offense, no one came to my support, but everyone deserted me. Can you hear the ache? This is Paul, the spiritual giant. Yet in the very next breath, he speaks the words that can steady our trembling hearts. But the Lord stood at my side and gave me strength. The Lord stood at my side, not in the pulpit, not in the crowd, but in the lonely cell. Paul's circumstances did not change. The isolation did not lift, but his perception was transformed by a presence. He knew he was not truly alone. This is the supernatural paradox of Christian fellowship. When human fellowship fades, the fellowship with Christ can intensify. It moves from a concept to a necessity, from a doctrine to a daily reality. You may feel physically alone, but you are spiritually surrounded. The writer of Hebrews said we are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses. These are not spectators. They are a cheering section of those who have run this race of faith before us, who have known their own deserts and caves and prison cells. They are the ones whispering from eternity. He is faithful. Keep going. We are here and he is with you. Your life now, in its quiet simplicity, is a living testimony to that faithfulness. Every morning you choose to get up, to make your tea, to read your Bible, to pray for your loved ones. You are living a sermon of endurance. You are showing a watching world and reminding your own soul that God's grace is sufficient for this day, for this hour, for this moment of silence. Your loneliness, when offered to God, becomes a sacred space for his companionship to become more real than the chair you are sitting in. It becomes a fertile ground where you can cultivate what the old saints called the practice of the presence of God. You can talk to him not just in formal prayers, but in ongoing conversation. Lord, this sunset is beautiful. Father, I miss her today. Jesus, thank you for this warm cup of coffee. This is the fellowship of the deep waters. It is slow. It is quiet. It is real. So, what do we do with these long days? How do we live in this tension between the holy ache for connection and the profound presence of God? We must become intentional gardeners of our hearts and hands. Even in the winter season, life is not meant to be dormant. It is meant to be rooted deep, drawing sustenance from unseen sources. The prophet Isaiah has a word for us, a promise spoken to Israel in a time of exile and despair. Even to your old age and gray hairs, I am he who will sustain you. I have made you and I will carry you. I will sustain you and I will rescue you. Notice the verbs, sustain, carry. This is not a promise of a sudden change of circumstances. It is a promise of daily, moment-by-moment upholding. It is the picture of a parent carrying a child who is too tired to walk. God says he will be that for you. Your strength to face another day does not have to come from within you. It can come from leaning into his carry. Let him carry the weight of your loneliness. Give it to him each morning. Say, Lord, this feeling is too heavy for me today. You carry it and carry me with it. Then look for his sustenance. It may come in the form of a phone, call you decide to make. Reaching out might feel risky, but it is an act of faith. You are planting a seed of connection. It may come in writing a letter, not an email, but a real letter with your handwriting. Your words on a page can be a tangible touch of grace to a grandchild or an old friend. It may come in prayer for others. Your prayers are powerful. You have a lifetime of wisdom and conversation with God. Use your quiet hours to lift up your family, your neighbors, your nation. You are not sidelined. You are on the front lines of the most powerful work on earth. Intercession is the ministry of the hidden heart, and it changes the world. And consider this. Your story, your testimony of God's faithfulness through decades, is a treasure younger generations are starving for. That feeling of being out of touch is an illusion. In a world of fleeting trends and shallow roots, your life is a deep, sturdy oak. Someone needs to hear how God provided during that hard time. Someone needs to know that marriages can last, that faith can endure loss, that joy comes in the morning after long nights. You are a living library of God's faithfulness. Share a story. Write it down. Tell it to a younger neighbor, a church member, over the phone. Your voice may tremble, but your words have weight. Finally, we fix our eyes on the horizon. This feeling of isolation, of being a stranger in a changing world, is echoed in the lives of faithful in Hebrews 11. They all died, not having received the things promised, but having seen them and welcomed them from a distance, admitting that they were foreigners and strangers on earth. You, dear friend, are foreigner and stranger here. Your true home, your true family reunion is ahead. The loneliness here is a reminder that we were made for a perfect, unbroken community. The kingdom of God, where every tear will be wiped away, and where we will be known fully and never be alone again. Until that day, you are on a sacred assignment. Your quiet room is a sanctuary. Your prayers are a powerful service. Your endurance is a testimony. You are not waiting to die. You are abiding until the day you are called home. And in this abiding, you are deeply, eternally loved. The God who numbered the hairs on your head when they were brown and full, still numbers them now that they are silver and thin. He has not lost count. You are not lost in the crowd to him. You are the one the shepherd would leave the 99 to find. You are the one for whom he spread his arms on the cross. And he is with you now in the quiet, in the loneliness, whispering, I will never leave you nor forsake you. You can trust that whisper. It is the truest sound in the silence. And what are the connections we still crave? The human touch, the sound of familiar voice. Be the initiator, as hard as it may seem. The phone works both ways. The stationery awaits in the drawer. That small Bible study at the local church might feel intimidating, but your arrival could be the answer to someone else's prayer for a friend. Sometimes God's answer to our prayer for companionship is to make us the answer to someone else's identical prayer. Look for the other person who might be sitting alone. Your simple, hello, my name is, could be the gentle whisper of God to two lonely hearts. And if mobility or health keeps you home, Then your home becomes an embassy of heaven. Your chair becomes a seat of intercession. Your window is a frame through which you bless your neighborhood. You are not out of the game. You are on the strategic reserve, engaged in the deep work of holding the line through prayer and kindness. Finally, let us settle this truth deep in our spirits. You are seen, not as a demographic, not as a statistic, but as a cherished individual. Hagar, alone and desperate in the desert, gave a name to God, El Roi, the God who sees me. She said, I have now seen the one who sees me. That is a journey from loneliness to sacred companionship, to move from crying out in our unseen pain to realizing, with stunning clarity, that we are seen. He sees you. He sees you in your favorite chair. He sees you struggling to open the jar. He sees you wiping a tear during the Odom. He sees you smiling at the children playing outside your window. He sees the courage it takes to face another day. And his seeing is not passive observation. It is engaged, loving, attentive presence. You are the apple of his eye. Your life, in all its chapters, is a story he is writing, and he is deeply interested in every sentence, every word, even the pauses between the words. These quiet years are not an epilogue. They are a rich, crucial chapter where the themes of lifetime, faith, hope, and love are refined and shine their brightest against the gathering twilight. So take heart. The sun is not setting on your significance. It is casting long, golden shadows that tell a day fully lived in the light of his grace, and is illuminating the path home, where every moment of loneliness will be swallowed up in eternal, joyful noise of family reunion that will never, ever end. Until then, you are held, you are carried, you are sustained, and you are so very, very loved. Sometimes feel it too, a sudden warmth on your cheek when you're feeling alone, the clear, unbidden memory of their laughter in a quiet moment, or that inexplicable sense, deep in your bones, that you are being cheered on, especially when the road gets steep and your strength is fading. It leads us to that quiet, aching question we turn over in our hearts, especially when the house feels too empty and the years feel long. Can they see us? Do our loved ones, safe in heaven, have any idea about our lives here? What does the Bible really say about this? Let's explore this tender thought together, not with dry doctrine, but with the gentle comfort of God's Word. The writer of Hebrews, in a letter meant to encourage weary believers to keep going, paints a stunning picture. He says we are surrounded, not by problems, though it often feels that way, not by fears, though they can press in close, but by a great cloud of witnesses. Just sit with that phrase for a moment. A cloud, vast, numberless, filling the heavenly stadium. And witnesses. That word doesn't mean idle spectators, like someone watching a passing scene. In the Bible, a witness is one who testifies, who affirms the truth, who has run their own race and now validates yours. Think of the most faithful people you've known, those who have now gone ahead. The grandmother whose prayers were your foundation. The steadfast friend whose faith never wavered. The quiet, strong soul who served without fanfare. The writer of Hebrews lists many of them earlier. Abraham, Sarah, Moses, Rahab. Ordinary people who trusted an extraordinary God. And he says this great crowd is not distant. They are surrounding us. That means from every side, every angle, we are enveloped by this legacy of faith. They have finished their course. They have laid aside every weight. And now, from the vantage point of heaven's fulfillment, they are witnessing the unfolding story of God's grace in you. This changes how we think about our daily walk. We often feel isolated in our struggles, the grief that returns in waves, the loneliness of an empty chair at the table, the fatigue of pressing on when our own bodies begin to slow down. But what if you are not walking alone? What if every step you take in faith, every time you choose kindness despite pain, every whispered prayer in the dark is being seen? Not in a critical way, but in the way a proud parent watches a child take their first wobbling steps. With joy, with anticipation, with hands clasped in hope. They are witnesses to God's faithfulness continuing in your life. They are a cloud of encouragers, reminding us by their very existence that the race is runnable, the faith is keepable, and the finish line is real and glorious. They are not ghosts haunting us. They are a cheering section, championing us. They have seen the face of Jesus. They know the end of the story. And from that place of perfect peace and joy, they are, in a way we may never fully understand the side of eternity, bearing witness to the grace that is still at work. So when you feel that nudge to keep going, that surge of unexpected strength, that memory that makes you smile through tears, could it be? Could it be that you are feeling the rustle of that great cloud, the echo of their amens, the collective breath of heaven holding its own in awe of God's work in your life? This understanding isn't meant to make us stare wistfully at the sky, neglecting our lives here. It's meant to infuse our present with courage and purpose. The very next words in that verse are, "Therefore let us run with endurance the race that is set before us." The cloud of witnesses is the prelude to the command. Because they are watching, we are to run. But how? By laying aside every weight. That weight might be a past regret, a clinging sorrow that says we cannot be joyful again. It might be a sin that so easily entangles us, telling us we are not worthy to run. We lay it down, and we fix our eyes on Jesus. He is the focal point. He is the one at the finish line, and He is the one running alongside us. Our loved ones in that cloud are not the source of our strength, but fellow recipients of the same grace. They point us, as they always did in their best moments, to Him. So are they watching? The Bible suggests a beautiful, mysterious yes. But their gaze is not one of worry or disapproval. It is filled with the peace of Christ and rooted in the triumph they now know in full. They see you through the lens of heaven's victory, and they are, in ways that transcend our earthly understanding, celebrating every step you take toward home. So, the next time you feel a pang of missing them, let it transform. Let the memory become a motivator. You are not running this race alone. You are carrying a legacy forward. You are the living proof that their faith was not in vain, that the God they trusted is a God who sustains you now. The baton has been passed. Your lap of the race matters. Run it. Run it with the knowledge that you are surrounded. Run it with the hope that one day you will join that cloud, not as a spectator, but as a witness who has finished the race, kept the faith, and now rests in the everlasting arms. And until that day, take heart. Heaven is closer than it feels. Their love, now perfected in the presence of love Himself, is still a part of your story. You are seen. You are cheered. You are surrounded. So keep going. Life